What's up people, David here, and today I just wanted to talk about something real quick. Okay, the last video I made where I was pretty much opening up about my life and things, talking about my preference, my ideal partner, stuff like that. I didn't think that video was going to offend people. It didn't offend people necessarily on YouTube, at least not yet. Let me tell you a chain of things that happened. When I went to go share this video in different subreddits and stuff, this person reached out to me from a INFJ Pen Pals subreddit, and this person seemed pretty nice. So they contacted me on Reddit. They were telling me how they liked my video and stuff and how they wanted to reach out and hopefully build some type of friendship because they saw the video and they were thinking that I was interested in building a friendship, you know, a real deep, meaningful one. And, you know, I didn't have any problem with that. We exchanged social medias and stuff to get to know each other better, right? Me and this person got into a discussion about relationships and friendships, you know, between a male and a female. I felt like it started out good, but then it got bad, but I feel like it was probably bad the whole time. I just didn't realize it until I could see kind of the tone and the energy change as the conversation went on. It's because I believe usually when a guy and a girl are friends, I believe that they develop feelings for each other. Like one might develop feelings and the other one might not, and sometimes it can be reciprocated. But if that girl is in a relationship, I don't think it's a wise idea to go out your way to make guy friends rather than make female friends. Unless you make clear-cut boundaries that you and this person are gonna be nothing but friends and that's it. I prefer, if I have a romantic partner, I will only hang out with like guys and stuff. I have been in a friendship before where I've had a crush on the person and the person didn't want to end the friendship. Some people keep you around just for the attention. Some people like being chased. Some people like being liked. They like being crushed on. So even if they're never going to reciprocate the same feelings for you, they may try to string you along just because it makes them feel attractive and it makes them feel like they have power over you. I'm not that type of person. I usually leave. I don't string people along or just keep playing with their emotions for the benefit of the both of us. There's some people we are just comfortable with just being their friend, but there's some people that we always desire more from. It's hard to ignore or dismiss those strong feelings you have for somebody, so it's sometimes best to just end all of it. But anyway, we was having a discussion about this. I didn't intend on arguing with this person, but I am gonna read some of the messages that we have to you guys because why not? I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Yesterday, I was very, very, very mad. You're gonna see why, because I did receive hate because, you know, I don't have friends that I can usually vent to or call anytime I want to and stuff like that. So I posted this conversation on a vent group on Facebook to kind of get an outside opinion on whether or not I was in the wrong or this person was in the wrong, or just to see what other people's perspectives was, you know, because I don't know what I said or if I said something wrong or if I came off the wrong way, but this is the first time somebody has offered to be my friend. It only took me one conversation for them to completely change their mind and end up removing me. Anyway, I'm gonna read you some of the messages that me and this person was texting to each other so you could kind of get an inside scoop on everything, and then maybe you people can give me your opinions. I asked her what pretty much piqued her interest, like why did she reach out? She said,
I just related to what you said. You posted in INFJ Pen Pals, so I felt like you wanted to find a like-minded friend. So I thought I'd give it a shot. I thought maybe you'd be kind of similar to me in being able to reciprocate in a friendship. I want meaningful friendships. I have a lot of acquaintances, but not really any close friends. I don't know if I have an unrealistic view on friendship, but I want to be friends with people who truly care about me and want to put effort in. Also, I often have bad experiences with guy friends, and that they end up liking me and they don't receive a relationship out of it. All of a sudden, no longer worthwhile getting to know or maintaining a friendship with.
Obviously, I responded, that's interesting. I definitely understand that. Meaningful friendships are hard to maintain these days. I wouldn't say you have an unrealistic view, but I'm definitely familiar with people wanting more out of a friendship. Thank you for actually sharing your views with me though. And then she said, what do you mean? Like after what do you mean, it was pretty much downhill after I started elaborating my point. Pretty much I went into depth on what I meant, and after that she disagreed, and then things just spiraled out of control completely. I'm just saying I understand where you're coming from. In your point of view, you think that a friendship shouldn't always lead into something romantic in order for it to be meaningful or deep. Some people just want close friends and nothing else, while others may want to be friends at first, but as they develop feelings, it oftentimes grow into something more than just a friendly attraction. I can understand your point of view and also understand the point of view of others. Some people may abandon a friendship or relationship once they feel like it ultimately won't fulfill the desires they're looking for. I've been on both ends of what you're describing though. I've been the person who just wanted a close friend, and I've also been the person who desired more than a friendship, but the feeling wasn't mutual, therefore I left the whole friendship. My reason for leaving would be that since the feelings are not mutual, it's almost hard to ignore the embarrassment, disappointment, and attraction you feel towards someone who rejected you. So it's always easier to put an end to things alone, because staying And any kind of connection with that person could rekindle the emotions you're trying to bear. And also seeing that person will make you feel like a failure in a sense, which is common with rejection because people often take it as a personal attack on themselves, feeling as if they weren't good enough for the one that they desire to be with. So I understand it from both perspectives. That's a long-winded paragraph that I texted, pretty much elaborating on my entire perspective. She could have just said she disagreed. She decided to say, yeah, I don't really agree with the latter case, even if I can empathize with it, which is okay. You don't have to agree with me. Plus, if the person you like was as amazing enough for you to like them, then you're literally passing that up just because you didn't acquire the result you wanted, like you relationship zoned them. It just doesn't seem like the person is really secure with themselves. How am I passing anything up if it's something that isn't mine to begin with? If you think about it, if a person wants to be in a relationship with you and you reject them and they leave, how is that just passing you up? How are you gonna pass up something that you didn't even have a chance with anyway? Well, imagine developing feelings for someone and then they reject you and still want to be your friend, but it's not the same because now they have set boundaries that weren't really there before, but they're now there because they don't want to lead you on. Eventually they may end up dating someone and distance themselves from you anyways because they don't want anything hindering their relationship with another person. Like if someone you liked was dating someone else, it would hurt you because it's something that you could become envious of. You can still love and wish them the best, but just from a distance. And then she said, or they might not change the way they behave towards you. Even if they do set boundaries, that's not a negative thing.
Can't see. Down.
Yes, very true, but I think it's rare when things stay the same after a confession like that. We could agree on that. Why would having opposite sex friends hinder a prospective relationship with another person? It would hurt, but the idea of losing someone amazing would hurt more. I'd rather keep that person in my life if it's something I enjoy being around anyways. It seems like self-sabotaging nature behavior, to be honest. But I highly doubt that the guys who I've rejected who don't bother staying my friend are doing that because it hurts too much to be my friend. I'm pretty sure they no longer have an incentive to give me their time or energy because they're not getting anything out of it. If somebody leaves a friendship and moves on, it's literally for your best interest because if they can't get over their feelings for you, there could be times where they end up projecting negative feelings onto you. And I feel like instead of hurting you or continuing on unhappy and stressed out, they decide to leave and give you space and give themselves space and create a space in between you two so that they could heal and cope with these feelings they're feeling properly. So it's not really a selfish thing. It's just a smart move to save you both time. Like in this situation of getting rejected and longing for somebody and somebody rejecting you, in this situation, nobody is bad. The person who rejected you is not wrong for rejecting you because they simply just didn't feel the same. And you're not wrong for feeling the way that you felt about them because it's very natural to develop feelings for somebody. So neither person in this situation is wrong. How so? You properly rejected them and they understand that. Unless my partner isn't also secure with the relationship, then they likely wouldn't care. It seems unhealthy. Okay, I feel like your partner would care if the person you're friends with has a crush on you and wants to spend time with you. Imagine your girlfriend or boyfriend, whoever you are watching this video, going out with a person that likes them and they're alone with this person that you know likes them. That's disrespectful to you too. Like, why is it important that you keep this friendship even after he confessed his feelings to you? Knowing that he feels this type of way without you and knowing that you don't feel the same, why continue to entertain him? There's no reason. And then I responded to her self-sabotage statement. It'll be self-sabotaging if there was potentially an opportunity with this person you professed your love to and you doubted would ever happen, so you just abandoned it. But if it's confirmed that your relationship with this person isn't going to progress into something that you truly want, it isn't self-sabotage, it's simply moving on. And then she responded with, ultimately, this is how I feel on this topic. You also feel strongly in a different way. That's cool too. And I respect that. I literally respected that. That's why I hearted that text. I respected the fact we both feel differently, and that's cool. But then she said, I'm not a fan of the stereotypical nice guy, just expressing my feelings. So I didn't think she was calling me a nice guy. I don't really consider myself that nice. I mean, I can be nice, but I could be rude sometimes. I don't want to be rude, but it happens. She said, they might not be, but a partner shouldn't determine who your friends are. I'm in a relationship and that just doesn't happen. So when she brought up that she was in a relationship, that's what kind of took me aback because I'm like, wait a minute, you're in a relationship?
I have a lot of acquaintances, but not really any close friends.
Like, I didn't know she was in a relationship. And I asked her, wait, are you actually in a relationship currently? She was like, yes, why? Me responding to her question about throwing friends away and whatever else she said about rejection. I said, well, that's what happened when a relationship is incompatible. And I said, well, you said you didn't have any close friends. That counts as a close friend. Now, me speaking from a person that is literally lonely with nobody I talk to in person, nobody I meet up with every day, nobody I'm cuddling with, going out to movies with, getting shown any type of affection from anyone, not even my own family, knows what true loneliness is. Now, when I'm talking to a person that's in a relationship who feels the need to go out of her way to make friends while you're in a relationship would mean that you must not feel closure or you must feel lonely. If I had a girlfriend, that's my everything. That's my best friend. That's my partner. That's everything all in one. I would be satisfied. I've talked to many actual moms, people who are married, and they talk about how lonely they feel and how they wish they could leave their husband and how they still have crushes on different people and different guys. I mean, I try to still show some compassion, but as somebody alone, I'm like, how can you not appreciate having somebody not only with you, but like married to you and committed to you? I've never felt that commitment before. And yet the people that have that commitment take it for granted. I don't know how they get to that point. Like, I don't understand some unhappy relationships where people just end up feeling lonely and feeling like they're not fulfilled when they get married. If you were with this person, you know how they were, unless they just changed when you got married, which is sometimes the case. But even then, you have kids with this person, you start a life with this person, you plan things in the future with this person, and you're unhappy with them, or you feel like you need more friends and more attention from other people besides your partner?
I said, I literally don't have any friends, and if I had a relationship, I wouldn't search for friends. That's what I said.
And then she said,
I didn't say that. I said I don't really have close friends. I didn't say I didn't have any friends. And outside of my relationship, I don't have close friends. I wouldn't say I have anyone aside from my BF to depend on. Your feelings on not caring whether you would have friends in a relationship is solely held by you. It's not odd that I want a meaningful friendship outside of my relationship.
which is not odd, because there's females you can have meaningful friendships with, but another guy, you have a meaningful relationship with a guy friend and your boyfriend? How can that work? Unless that guy is dating somebody already and that's why he doesn't have a desire to date you. Continuing on. And I said, it isn't odd. She said,
It's so weird that you take your personal feelings and force others to feel the same way because it would be okay for you.
And I told her, well, I can't force anyone to feel for me. I don't force anyone to feel for me. I simply just make a decision for myself.
she said,
That's on a technical level, but your manner of speaking makes me feel really invalidated.
I said, I mean, you made some good points. I didn't mean to validate you. And she said,
Wow, really? You're in a relationship? You say you didn't have any close friends, though. That could be really invalidating towards other people who feel like they want to build meaningful connections outside of their relationship. It makes me feel like I'm not allowed to do that because I have one close connection.
and I said, yes, but how meaningful can it possibly be? Referring to the relationships outside of your boyfriend. How meaningful could that be compared to your actual relationship? You have your BF you could depend on for affection, physical contact, emotional support, and more. Anything outside of that will be unmatchable compared. I do respect your opinions, though. I didn't mean to irritate you. There's no hard feelings on my behalf. That's how that conversation ended. No hard feelings. Obviously, at that point, I was like, okay, I just wasted like a good hour or a good 30 minutes talking to this person. I need some opinions from some outsiders. I don't automatically think I'm right. I have to check an outsider's opinion sometimes. Somebody that doesn't have a connection to me. I made a post in this Facebook vent community, like a vent group, get it off your chest. And of course, I posted the screenshots of the conversation and everything. And the feedback I got was terrible for the most part. I don't know what their problem was, but anyway, the first hate comment from this person, I'm gonna blur their name and everything. They said,
No offense, but this whole thing is cringe. It seems like an over-explanation after another. Almost like you were trying to start a fight with this Ari person. It doesn't come off as offensive, but definitely comes off as arrogant and pushy. Just my opinion.
arrogant and pushy. How am I pushing somebody that reached out to me that I don't even really care to talk to that much, that I was actually planning on ending the conversation before she asked, what did you mean? She asked me to elaborate, so I elaborated. And I said, well, I respect your opinion, even though it was a bad one.
But I was only responding to what she says. I wasn't being pushy, at least from my perspective. She reached out to me, so I wasn't really looking for a fight or anything. I didn't expect her to respond the way she did.
Of course, that wasn't taken lightly. A lot of people agreed with her. This person said,
Okay, you do seem like the kind that likes to have discussions. However, having those discussions over text format can be tricky, and properly communicating that you aren't being offensive. If I was on the other side of this conversation, I would stop engaging also. The first reason is because your text tone just seemed off and like you weren't listening to the other person. The next reason is because you seemed very reactive to the idea of this person having a boyfriend. It's okay to want friends outside of your relationship, and it's actually super important that you do. By reacting the way you did, you showed that you can be controlling and can't handle just being friends with people.
meaning your chances of cheating are high.
This is terrible. I'm getting ready to pack my things and just get out of here.
So off of this one discussion, she ruled that I am highly likely to cheat if I had a spouse. Which is not true, because if I had a spouse and I wouldn't be seeing any females outside of my relationship, the chances of me cheating are actually lower than a lot of other people because I will only be talking to my wife. But anyway, she said, so yeah, I'd say you were in the wrong and need to freshen up on communication skills. And just how how to treat people in general. I hope this doesn't come off as rude, but it'll save you in the long run. Apparently she wasn't trying to be rude. Okay. And then another person that hops on that bandwagon. First of all, I think you meant well. This was largely a big misunderstanding. However, from the text, I get the vibe that you wanted to flirt and or wanted more than a friendship. So she was likely getting weirded out when you suddenly asked if she was currently in a relationship. Your text formatting changed drastically and it seemed like you were getting upset. This next person I'm about to read, this really hated me or this doesn't like me because straight up, this out the gate, she said, not trying to be rude, have you ever been mentally assessed? This is a very unusual, hyper-analytical social behavior. If you struggle to form meaningful relationships with people, this could be perceived as evidence as to why. So instead of just disagreeing with me, she has to diagnose me. That's what people do when they just can't disagree. Like, they have to insult you and claim you to be mentally ill rather than say, I disagree with you and your standpoint. Every time I try to have a discussion, it never stays on the subject. It always gets personal because majority of the society is programmed to only follow their feelings and not rationality or logic. How great would it be to get into a relationship and just tell your partner, you know what? You all I need. I don't desire anybody else. What's wrong with that? Why are they trying to make it sound bad, restricting, and restraining? With 8 billion people in the world, and your logic is to just stick to one person, which is your partner, is kind of toxic and unhealthy. I just don't know what I did. All I did is say how I feel. If the world hates you, let it hate you. Sometimes in a crowd of people, you may be the only one who's right. In a crowd of people pointing the finger at you, telling you you're wrong and condemning you, you may be the only person in that crowd that actually is speaking the truth. So never be discouraged by all those people who point the finger at you and blame you and tell you that you're wrong, you don't mean anything, that you're too soft, you're too this, you're too that, because ultimately at the end of the day, you know who you are. This doesn't include people correcting you in a respectful manner, but all those people who are just insulting you, discouraging you, bringing you down, hating on you, just remember that you may be holding a light that they all need in their life, and they just may be envious of that light that you have inside of you. I hope you people had an awesome day. I love you all. God bless you all. Bye.